How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Another piece of breaking news, and it's great news. It's news that we've kind of known, been coming for a little while now. Nothing's a surprise in the football world anymore. I mean, with Twitter now, people know what's coming a few weeks before it actually does arrive, but it's arrived. Saliba signed a new 4-year deal. We'll get into whether there's an option or not, because I'm not too sure at this moment in time. Maybe the chat can help me out with that, but we'll talk about that. But let me introduce Laurie in the building as well. Been a little while since me and you have done a stream together, Laurie. But like I said, great news.
Great news, man. Exciting news coming off the back of what we're seeing with Declan Rice and hopefully Jurrien Timber. As I said on a previous show we did, that as far as I'm concerned, retention is as important as recruitment. You've got to have both of those things on point. And retaining the services of Saliba would have been high on the club's priorities. They managed to do that alongside Gabriel, Saka, Martinelli, people like that, Ramsdale. So yeah, great times.
I can't lie, to be honest, this is... Listen, the way Arsenal have approached this transfer window, I haven't seen anything like it. Long may it continue. You know, Arsenal are moving different, finally flexing. But I can't. This is probably the best piece of news so far. Listen, that 100 million fee for Declan Rice, definitely exciting. You know, this is what I wanted after Josh said be excited. You know, because I'm definitely excited now about the future of Arsenal. That's for sure. But this news is just, like you said, retention is as important as recruitment. Absolutely. But this one's a big one because there was a lot of talk about how he was integrated at the club, having signed a 5-year deal from St Etienne, being loaned out 3 times in a row. You know, a lot of people, including myself, thought he's probably not too happy about this. You know,
yeah, I must admit, I had my reservations when I saw that situation because, listen, we knew that Saliba was highly touted. We'd heard about him, and when we got him, we was thinking, yeah, man, let's get him straight in, and that didn't happen. And I think myself, and I know I'd spoken to you previously, we were a bit frustrated that it wasn't happening. Still don't know the exact reasons why, but anyway, that's in the past. But what we do know is that he came to us last season and he was outstanding. And I would actually go as far as to say that there is a definite pattern there in that you can see our title hopes kind of diminish somewhat with Saliba getting injured. I don't know what you think to that.
Yeah, played a big part.
That did definitely play a part.
I think it happening to Tomiyasu at the same time made it bigger than it could have been, because I think with Tomiyasu there we could have pushed Ben White in or played Tomiyasu much better than Holding, in my opinion. But you're right. I mean,
yeah, you can definitely trace things going wrong back to that back injury that he picked up. And you know, back injuries, I mean, I'm lucky that I don't have back problems, but I know, for example, my brother Robbie, he suffers from back problems, and I know how debilitating that can be. So I was a bit worried when I heard it was a back issue, and he has to be carefully nurtured. But listen, man, 22 years old, he's actually younger than Declan Rice. You know what I mean? So and his ceiling is very, very high. I would say without a doubt he was one of the best centre backs in the Premier League last season, definitely.
100%. I agree.
He's only going to get better, isn't he?
I agree, and even the way opposition fans talk about him, that's when you know when you've got someone there, when opposition fans can't even find a way to put him down. But let's look at
most centre halves. They tend to fall into one or two categories, isn't it? You get your strictly sort of hard-nosed defending centre backs, which, hey, I don't have too much of a problem. Old school type. And then you get your newer school types that are good on the ball, but perhaps not that good at defending. But I think with Saliba, I'm sure you would agree with me, Turkish, he combines both of those facets. Yeah. So you've got the complete centre half. Yeah. And it's interesting because initially he would have gone into that partnership with Gabriel as perhaps the so-called junior partner. But I think over the course of the season, he was emerging as the senior partner. And that is no disrespect to Gabriel Magalhaes, who I do rate.
I know what you mean. I know, because, you know, age is one thing, but the way Saliba plays, especially on the ball,
absolutely.
He's got the traits needed to be, you know, to be a leader of a back four.
And he's got the physicality, he's got the speed, he's got the presence. He can get you the odd goal as well, as he showed. He scored a couple of goals last season. Yeah. And listen, man, for us to be able to retain his services, I can't underestimate how important that is, because like I said, retention in any walk of life, in any business, you've got, in order to be successful, whether you're a sports franchise or a business entity or whatever you're doing, retention of good people is absolutely crucial to your long-term development.
Yeah, let's look at the way it was announced. Arsenal.com obviously come with the official announcement. That's when you know it's signed, sealed, delivered, regardless of all the noise on Twitter. They said our French international defender William Saliba has signed a new long-term contract with us. The 22-year-old was an integral part of our 22-23 campaign, making 33 appearances in all competitions while scoring 3 times and assisting once from centre-back. There's also other bits and bobs there. You can check it out for yourself, but I'll scroll down. Sporting director Edu said, quote, "We are so happy to have signed a new deal with Saliba. William is part of our vision to keep our talented young players who will hopefully be successful with us for many years to come so that we can grow and progress together. I know the supporters will be just as happy as we are to see William continue with us in the future." And also Mikel Arteta had the word. He says, quote, "To have William extend his contract with us was something we have wanted to do for a long time. William proved last season just how good and how important he is to our squad. The ability he has at his young age of just 22 is exciting, and there's of course so much more room for development with any player at this stage of their career. We're looking forward to continuing to work with William in the years to come." So, nice little announcement there. A few nice quotes as always. But the job is done. And when you look at the promo video that came out on Twitter, I don't know if you caught it before we went live.
The little snippet of the French thing, and I like that. Yeah, that was. They
actually not play on it, but they bring into it the loan spells. Obviously, he was speaking French. There was subtitles, but he mentions, and you know, I know there's going to be a lot of people saying he was told to say this. It's PR. There might be a lot of people saying he wanted to say it, and so on. He was saying the loan spells and whatnot. Now he realizes how important they was for him, and I think a key word is also now, because I think he was actually frustrated himself at the time. I remember some noise with Guendouzi on Instagram on a certain post, and then when them two played together on his last loan spell, I thought this ain't gonna end well. But he's come back, and like he said in the promo video, he came back. He's a pivotal part of the team now, and he's so happy to be here. And we saw that last season. Certain times, goals going in. He was one of the most passionate celebrators out there.
And you're telling what as well. Going back to last season, do you remember he was going for a real purple patch? And I think there was one game where he made an error and it cost us a goal. And I remember instantaneously the fans cheered his name.
Yeah, I forgot what game it was, but
that was a touching moment, because you don't often see that with fans, not just Arsenal fans, but any group of fans, you know what I mean? And they got behind him instantly, sung his name, and he later said that moment was such a touching moment for him. He felt at one with the club in that moment. So listen, man, I'm made up about this signing, bro. And just touching on the promo video as well, I thought it was very interesting that he said in that video that he was born in North Paris, but he became a man in North London. And I think that's significant.
Yeah.
For a guy like that to say that, I think that's a sort of testament to his maturity and to how much he's embraced Arsenal, the culture of London and the club, you know what I mean? I think all those things have what's led into him extending his contract for 4 years. I mean, that's fantastic. You referenced earlier, I don't think there is a release clause.
I mean, yesterday Ornstein first tweeted saying there's no 1 year clause. Romano then tweeted saying there is a 1 year clause. Today, since it's been made official, I don't think Ornstein's tweeted last time I checked. Romano's tweeted, but it's just a tweet, you know, just saying Saliba, Arsenal, and a few emojis. There's nothing more to it, and 2027. So I'm going to lean towards what Ornstein's saying. Probably knows more about the finer details. No option. So I'll ask you, with all these new contracts being signed, it is great news. About 4 year contracts at the start when Saka first signed for 4 years. I know there was some noise on Twitter with people questioning why it isn't longer, especially when you see Chelsea handing out 8 year contracts, death row contracts and whatnot. But do you think 4 years is a problem? Me personally, I don't. I think that increases the pressure on the club and the owners to achieve in the next 2 years, because if you achieve in the next 2 years, then when the contract extension talks come up, which should really come up with 2 years remaining, you're in a healthy position. Why would they leave? We're winning stuff. We're at the top of the game. Cool. But do you think 4 years is a bit of a worry, or you
No, I don't read anything negative into that at all. In fact, 4 years, by today's standards, in terms of how you view football as a football career as a long-term entity, I think 4 years is good. You know what I mean? Because, you know, let's face it, football's a very fast-moving sport. A lot can happen in less than a year, let alone 4 years. So
yeah,
we tied him down to 4 years. Listen, to me, that's all positive. There's no negatives to take from that at all, really.
Yeah, and his shirt number's changed. He's number 2
Number
now.
2, yeah, that's interesting. You don't often see like your marquee players being number 2. And I would certainly describe Saliba as a marquee player.
Yeah, he is.
But it's interesting, you know, I wonder what's behind that number 2. Maybe there's some kind of personal preference there.
Maybe just to get him in the first 11 as well.
Yeah,
I know that doesn't play much, because you know you have players playing that are.
But dare I say it, you'll see a lot of number 2 shirts being sold in the club shop.
I'd expect so.
You know what I mean?
I'd expect
with
so.
Saliba on the back.
You talked about his ceiling earlier, and I think his ceiling.
His ceiling is high, bro.
Is the highest, if not joint highest, at the club with a couple of the other youngsters.
Yeah.
When I look at Saka, Martinelli, and Saliba, it's hard to say who's got the highest ceiling.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, listen, these are exciting times if you're an Arsenal fan. Because, look, you've just tied down the services of Martinelli, Saka, Ramsdale, Gabriel Magalhaes, and now Saliba. I mean, that is... And then when you add that with what Arsenal looking to do in the transfer window, we know about Declan Rice, Timber, and we're looking at 1 or 2 other guys as well. You said it yourself, Turkish. I have not seen a transfer window like this in a long time.
Yeah.
So there's real reasons to be optimistic if you're an Arsenal fan. And, you know, let's not forget the title run, which, okay, it fell away a little bit towards the end, but, you know, we were right there, weren't we?
We was.
For most of the season. The way we're moving now, I'm filled with optimism. What about you, man? I'm looking at trophies, and I'm not talking FA Cup and League Cup, man. I'm talking about the big ones. I think this type of activity suggests to me that the club are serious.
Yeah.
And that is a project that I can get behind, you can get behind. The fans, when we rock up at the stadium, August, which isn't, let's face it, it's not too far from now, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would like us, though, and I know we're digressing slightly, I don't want to, we're talking about Saliba and centre-backs, but I would like us to do something in that striking position. I'd like to see some activity there, whether it's to keep Balogun or bring somebody in or whatever. But that might be the final piece of the jigsaw. But what's happening now, I'm very happy with.
Literally, at the same time as you said that last sentence, Ricky here said need a striker for that expectation.
Yep, I think so, man.
It's bang on. But you are right. I mean, you know, we're here to talk about Saliba's contract extension, and we are talking about it. We have talked about it, but it's one of many factors in the past 4 weeks that are showing Arsenal are serious. I don't even think, you know, it's without a shadow of a doubt.
Absolutely.
It's the most optimistic I've been since I've been in front of a camera on YouTube giving my opinion. And I think it's the first season I'm going into where I'm expecting to be challenging for the title, where I'm expecting to go, you know, far in the Champions League. When you look at the teams across Europe, there isn't many out there that, you know, are how they used to be, I'd say. So I want to be challenging on 3 fronts. I know you mentioned the FA Cup, and I get that. Just winning the FA Cup would be underwhelming, but I love the FA Cup. I want that, but I want the major.
The big ones.
The big ones. The Premier League, ideally first. Champions League, hopefully we can get one, because all
actually talking about that, supposing, and I know we're thinking far ahead, maybe we shouldn't do this, but just for fun and games, so if you had the choice between one or the other next season, Champions League or Premier League, which one would you take? And that question's not as straightforward as some may think, you know, because there's pros and cons to both. I know which one I'd take.
It's because we ain't got it, though, innit? That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'll take the Champions League, bro. I know it's great to be champions of your own country, but to be champions of Europe, something that we've never done before.
Yeah, because we haven't done it. You know, I lean towards there, but you know, I also I want to couple that up with at least a challenge for the Premier League, because you know what?
We want a challenge. Yeah.
It's been so long for the Premier League as well. I know we've won the Premier League and we've won many league titles that date back before the Premier League era, but You are right. The Champions League.
Champions
is the one
League,
we're
man. I
missing,
mean,
so.
I was there, myself and Robbie. We were lucky enough to get tickets for the Champions League final in Paris, and that day was the whole build-up, man, was brilliant. We had a great day out there, and we did, for a time, we did really well. We're looking like, you never know, we might even pull this off. It didn't quite happen, and then obviously the sense of deflation and disappointment after was palpable. But I always remember that day when me and Robbie were there, and we were sort of looking around the ground, and we were thinking, wow, man, this is amazing. So to be able to revisit that and actually go and win it this year, that would, for me, that would cap all of my Arsenal experiences.
No, I'm with you. I know I took a long time to think about it, because I've always said I want the Premier League first, but realistically, when you put it like that, when you Champions League, then we need one in our.
But the other thing I would say as well about the Saliba thing, I mean, the Declan Rice for me was massive, because I mean, I know we haven't quite got it through the door yet. He's having the medicals and all the rest of it, but to me, that's a statement signing, and I think in a lot of ways, us retaining the services of the likes of Saliba, Saka, Gabriel, all them, man. To me, that's almost as well, I would say is as big a statement, because you're keeping the talent that you've got there and you're pushing forward.
100%. Far too often, multiple things have pissed me off over the years with Arsenal. And it was a combination of different things, and part of that was that sometimes would bring in a player that excites us, but in the same window would lose a player that's been exciting us, that we wanted to build on, and it's like taking 2 steps forward, 2 back, or or
it might be that you bring in like a real, remember the likes of Aubameyang and Ozil, we brought in those man there, but then the supporting cast wasn't quite the same. So the guys you're bringing in are nowhere near at that level. But with this one, you're bringing in Declan Rice, you're bringing in Timber, we're looking at other guys. I mean, dare I say it, maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it. There's talks out there, people are talking about the possibility of Mbappe. I mean, wow. I mean, as I said on a previous show, we did a transfer talk show earlier today, and I was saying on that show that for us to be even linked, even in that same sentence, you wouldn't have got that years ago.
Of course you wouldn't.
You know what I mean? And now people are looking at it and they're not like laughing at that suggestion either.
No, some are still trying to laugh, but then you know.
Yeah, well, laugh at your peril, man, because listen, stranger things have happened. But anyway, let's focus on Saliba.
I'm not sure how many stranger things have happened, but listen, we can do it. Will we do it? That's another story. But listen, the breaking news, and to be honest, it seems that more will follow shortly, because apparently it seems that Timber's done his medical. Rice is due to do his medical, so these signings will be announced.
Don't you get the impression with Timber that it's almost a Saliba-esque type of signing? I mean, since we've been linked with him, I've done a little bit of research on the guy, and I've looked at his strengths, and I've looked at some of his stuff on YouTube, and I'm seeing a guy that's very talented, very physically strong, capable. Yeah, you know what I mean? It kind of gives me that Saliba type vibe.
He's got similar traits in terms of his attributes, but I think he's a bit shorter.
Yeah, he's a bit shorter, which
allows for him to play.
But he's quick
at in right back, in my opinion, a bit more
quick, talented on the ball. You know what I mean? Fits a lot of the.
Listen, long may it continue, Laurie.
Boxes, man.
Long
those attributes.
May it continue.
Yeah.
We've got Cecil in the building as well. What are you saying, Cess?
What's that you got on?
Just coming here to give Arsenal a round of applause for securing, Saliba again. Very happy. Obviously, I wore this top today. Not saying I knew. I have no idea. I'm no.
Is that why you told me you were going out to the shop to see if you could buy it?
No, I'm just saying. shop.aftv.co.uk. My favourite top, Saliba.
No, I like that, man.
It's proper, man, and he's back with us. Very happy. Big him up every time. Willie Saliba back at Arsenal, and I'm happy, man, and he deserves it. Mikel Arteta as well. Fair play to you, because every time he sent him on loan, I'll be honest, I started to get annoyed, but I trusted him. He got it right, got it spot on, and he's still with us.
Why do you keep on saying back at Arsenal though?
He's not back. He's just staying. He's staying. All right. He's back. He's staying back for another couple seasons. Yeah, he's there. Happy, gassed. T-shirt. I'm gonna be repping it. Obviously, wireless is on right now. The kids are out. I'm gonna be.
Is there a little tinge of trepidation though with the back injury? I mean, we spoke about that before. Back injuries are not a nice thing. I'm personally glad that I've never suffered a back injury.
What are we doing here? We're trying to
I'm just keeping it real.
I'm not thinking about the back injury right now.
I'm trying not to, but I'm saying that's the one thing that you do have a sense of trepidation, because trust me, man, I know people who suffer from back injuries in sports, and it can flare up at any time.
That can, but
You know what I mean? So that's the one little thing. I'm not trying to put a downer. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just keeping it real.
we're better prepared for it.
Because he did miss 11 games
No, I know that.
last season.
We're better prepared for it if it does happen.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Timber
yeah.
coming in, Ben
That's
White,
true.
Tomiyasu back in action as well.
Do you think that's why he might have gone out on a limb for Timber?
Yeah, listen, do you want to see Holding again?
No, but you know what I mean? They've obviously earmarked that position. They've made it a priority. Do you think it might have
but
had something to do with
after
it?
seeing my man,
Yeah.
I would make it a priority too. I was
He was the most
hoping it
important
would,
player to
it would
lose.
be the case.
Without a doubt. Think about all the
Because I was
things-
making the point to Turkish, and I'm sure you'd agree, Cecil, that it's not a coincidence, shall I say, that with Saliba being injured and missing those 11 games, if you notice, our challenge for the Premier League kind of faltered around about that time, didn't really recover, especially with Tomiyasu being out as well, so we weren't able to fill that position adequately.
Maybe, but I'm looking at it from a different angle. We've got him to stay for,
Yeah, I'm trying to, I'm not
So,
erring on the negative.
We're
I'm
gonna
just
enjoy. We're gonna,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Happiness. I'm gonna go vibe in the sun. Big up you two. Big up everyone. Saliba, he's staying.
Enjoy.
Arsenal. They love your soul.
Some super chats have come in over the show as well, so let me get them in before we wrap it up. We have one in from Ollie saying Saliba contract signing of the season is definitely up there. Jashar says big up Turkish. Remember, I told, man. Come on, my guy. Hope you're well. And one's just coming from Aston Mac. Link up soon, my bro. Hope you and the family are well. When Arteta took over, the value of the players at the club was about 600 M's. Now it's about 1 billion, just 100 M's of City. We have to talk about what a job Edu's doing. Long may it continue.
Yeah, shout out to Edu, man. I can remember, it wasn't that long ago, a lot of people were calling for his head. You know what I mean? So he's really turned it around, bro. So yeah, congrats to Edu. Nice guy as well, apparently.
And I guess and Aston's right. I think post tour and maybe in between the Community Shield tie against City and the start of the season, maybe we do a video here looking back at the business done, both ins and outs. And we'll see how we shape up and what we expect from the season ahead. But you're right, Edu does, get a lot of criticism.
Yeah, he has had in the past, some of it a little bit unfair, but what no one can argue with what he's doing at the moment. As I said, I would like to see a striker. How the club address that, I mean, like I said, they've got options. They can choose to bring Balogun into the fold and give him a chance, or they might want to look further afield. We know about the Havertz signing. I mean, I think Havertz was brought in to kind of address that issue as well. Goals from midfield and stuff like that. And it gives you an option of playing him up top. But I do think we need a striker though, definitely.
Yeah, so do I agree. Owen, at the buzzer, off topic, why are there these Mbappe stories coming out? You can't tell me you guys believe that's a possibility. Owen, it's a difficult one to explain because I know why you're saying that, but I know what I mean when I say Arsenal can do it. It doesn't sound fathomable because we haven't done it before.
It sounds far-fetched, but look at it this way. We know that Mbappe's contract situation at PSG is precarious right now, yeah? It is, without any shadow of a doubt. They're giving him ultimatums to sign soon, and the obvious club would be Real Madrid. However, Real Madrid, they've had a significant outlay with Bellingham and one or two other people. All of a sudden, Arsenal entered the fray by hook or by crook. Now, if you're Mbappe, yeah, and you're looking across Europe at clubs, from young players, progressive manager, going places, and you look at Arsenal, you see what they're doing there, him and his representatives might think, you know what, that looks an exciting project. Also, we know that Mbappe, one of his footballing idols growing up was Thierry Henry. People are suggesting in the papers that Thierry Henry might be in a position where he might have a wet chat with him and say, listen, man, what do you think? You just never know in football, do you?
Hopefully.
And that's what we're clinging to. We're not saying it's going to happen. We're not even saying it's serious at this stage. But what we are saying is it's a possibility.
Well, what I'm saying is we need to understand we've got a hell of a rich owner, biggest NBA contract ever handed out. He done similar with the Rams. It cost a hell of a lot to relocate them. This guy's got money. we've got more clout on the pitch from last season because we was the only team up there with City. Now we're getting more clout off the pitch with a 100 million rise deal with the City interest. I'm not going to say we beat them, but there was City interest and we just got the job done. So, you know,
Put it this way, if you're Mbappe and you look at the Premier League, so for example, he's not going to go City, is he? They've got Haaland there.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them.
What would be the next most exciting project?
In the Premier League, 100% Arsenal.
Yeah, and you're coming to London and you've got the French connections. You know what I mean? And you got, like I said, one of his idols growing up was Henry, who I'm assured they have a very good relationship. Listen, stranger things have happened.
Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hope you've enjoyed, people. Hit the like button. The breaking news: Saliba contract extension confirmed, signed, sealed, delivered. 4-year contract. Apparently, no option for a year extension, and he also moves to the number 2 shirt. So yeah,
get
big
that
up
number 2
Saliba.
shirt, bro.
Massive signing. And keep them coming, Arsenal. Keep them coming. Love for the love, people. We're out. Peace.
2's up.